Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Patipada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapama dattana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now today, instead of chanting the Dhammachakka Sutra, I am going to explain the correct meaning of the Dhammachakka Sutra, because it's such an important sutra. As a matter of fact, out of the 17,775 sermons, the sutras that you find in the Tripitaka, the most important one is the Dhammachakka Sutra. Dhammachakka Sutra was the first sutra. Sutra means sermon. That Lord Buddha delivered after attaining Buddhahood. He delivered this sutra to first 5 disciples, Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, Kondanya, Badhya, Vappa, Mahanama, and Assaji. Now in the Dhammachakka Sutra, Lord Buddha has explained the Nibbana Marga in very simple terms. Even a little child of 12 years with some intelligence and wisdom can understand. He has clearly explained the Nibbana path. Firstly, up to Sotapanna, then going beyond Sotapanna, how to attain. First, Sotapanna is the first level of enlightenment. And going beyond that, how to attain the second level of enlightenment, Sakuddhagami, third level of enlightenment, Anagami, and the fourth level of enlightenment, Arahat. So Dhammachakka Sutra is the only sutra. One needs to complete all 4 levels of enlightenment if one is really interested in getting enlightened. But it is very important that the Dhammachakka Sutra, firstly, one must learn the correct meanings of the words in the Dhammachakka Sutra, and then comprehend that Dhamma, and then practice it. And if one does that, within a very short period of time, one can become Sotapanna, attain the first level of enlightenment. The problem people are having these days is most people don't read the Tripitaka. They read all the other books in the world in Buddha Dhamma, but they don't read the Tripitaka. Tripitaka is our holy book, and Lord Buddha's Dhamma, Lord Buddha's teachings, is in the Tripitaka. And now, for example, if someone wants to learn Christianity, they will read the Bible. If someone wants to learn Islam, they will read Quran. But most Buddhist people, those who are interested in learning Buddhism, never read the Tripitaka. That's a major problem that we have. Secondly, the Tripitakas that we have are not complete. The only complete, comprehensive Tripitaka is the one that is at the British Library in London. That was the very first Tripitaka that was written down in the world. It was 456 years after Lord Buddha passed away. and that makes it over 2,100 years old. And it is widely accepted by the scholars in the world that it is the oldest Tripitaka in the world and the only complete and comprehensive one. And there are substantial differences between other Tripitakas and this old Tripitaka. I call it old Tripitaka because it's easier to refer it to as old Tripitaka. Let me explain you one example. If you take the Dhammachakka Sutra, the Dhammachakka Sutra that they given in the Tripitaka that they have at the British Library, that is written on gold leaves. And the other sutras, there's one sutra is written on copper leaves and the others are written on ola leaves. But Dhammachakka Sutra is the only one that is written on gold leaves, and it's 50 pages. It's totally comprehensive and very simply explained. The only thing is it's written in Sinhala alphabet. So anyone from Sri Lanka who has learned Sinhalese can read it. And it's very easy to understand because it's written in Magadhi language. So someone who is good in Sinhala can understand 50% of the words without using a dictionary. And for the rest, there are two very good dictionaries at the British Library. Using those two dictionaries, anyone who can read Sinhala language, who is good in Sinhala language, can read, understand, and comprehend the entire Dhammachakka Sutra. Before I read that Dhammachakka Sutra, I had read Dhammachakka Sutra in 4 other Tripitakas. In Sri Lanka, we have 2 Sinhala Pali Tripitakas. The first one was written for Buddha Jayanti in 1956. So that is less than 70 years old. And there's another one written by a Buddhist monk called Venerable Kiribat Godanyana in the 90s. So that is less than 30 years old. I have read the Dhammachakka Sutra in those 2 Tripitakas. Then there are 2 English Tripitakas that I have read where you have Dhammachakka Sutra. The first one is written by Ray Davies, and that's less than 200 years old. And the next one is written by Bhikkhu Bodhi, who's an eminent American monk who was ordained in Sri Lanka and lived in Sri Lanka for 24 years. Now he's back in USA, in New York, and he's the president of the Theravada Buddhist Council in USA. Very educated, highly respected monk, very, very good monk. And the 4th Tripitaka is written by him. Now, in all these 4 Tripitakas, Dhammachakka Sutra is given on 3.5 pages, less than 4 pages. Whereas in the old Tripitaka that is kept at the British Library, Dhammachakka Sutra is given on 50 pages. So you can imagine the difference, 4.5 pages comparing to 50 pages. That is the major problem why people cannot comprehend Dhamma correctly and become Sotapanna. Otherwise, becoming Sotapanna is not difficult at all. Everyone can do it. According to Lord Buddha's teachings, Lord Buddha has said everyone can do it. It's a question of learning the correct Dhamma and comprehending it and practicing it. That's all. So today I'm going to explain the Dhammachakka Sutra as per that old Tripitaka. Please listen to this very carefully. This is very, very important. If you listen to this, understand, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. I will answer all the questions. And if you learn this Dhammachakka Sutra correctly, I'm going only up to Sotapanna level, the first level of enlightenment. That's only one quarter of the Dhammachakka Sutra, because there's no point in explaining everything. One cannot do A-levels and bachelor's and master's and PhD at one go. One has to pass the A-level first, become Sotapanna, the first level, then go to master's degree, which I call the master's degree, Sakuddhagami, then go to the bachelor's, then the 3rd level I call master's degree, Anagami, and the 4th level, Arahat, I call it PhD. So one cannot learn all 4 at one go. Best thing is to learn That's what Lord Buddha said actually. Learn one at a time and complete it. First you complete the first level of enlightenment. That's what all the monks did. If you look at the Tripitaka, starting with the Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu. Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu listened to the Dhammachakka Sutra and became Sotapanna. After that, Lord Buddha explained to them how to do Vipassana meditation. In the Dhammachakka Sutra, to become Sotapanna, you don't have to practice Vipassana, you have to practice Samatha meditation. Buddhist Samatha meditation is not the Hindu Samatha meditation where people breathe in, breathe out. Breathing in, breathing out has nothing to do with Buddhist Samatha meditation. I will explain you the differences. There's a huge difference between Buddhist Samatha meditation and Hindu Samatha meditation, where people learn to breathe in, breathe out, and counting number of times they breathe and counting the breath and short breath and long breath. They are not in the Tripitaka. They are in the Visuddhimagga written by a Brahmin priest. They were Brahmin practices. He has written them, and I can't understand why majority of the Buddhist people don't realize this. It is not the correct meditation. They are just wasting their time by doing this breathing meditation. As a matter of fact, I did that for 56 years until I became a monk, and I didn't get anywhere with that. And after 14 months of becoming a monk, only I found the correct Dhamma and the correct meditation technique. And after that, it didn't take me too long to comprehend the correct Dhamma and become Sotapanna. After 14 months of becoming a monk only, I met the first Sotapanna monk in Sri Lanka. I learned Dhamma from him, started the practice. After a few months, I met two Arhat monks in the deep forest in Sri Lanka. I listened to Dhamma from them as well and became Sotapanna. So becoming Sotapanna is not difficult. Believe me, if you listen to me carefully, and if you try and remember this, if you can't remember, you can call me and ask me 100 times, and I'm more than happy to explain you. That's what I'm doing these days with most people. That's why I haven't got the time for anything else. I get so many calls. People are calling me, people who listen to my Dhamma, because I have people, over 200 people from Los Angeles to New York to right across Europe, right across Asia, Middle East, going all the way to India, Sri Lanka, South Korea, and Japan. So I'm getting calls from lots of people who have learned Dhamma, and I explain them. I spend a lot of time with them. I spend 2-3 hours with sometimes individually with people explaining Dhamma. So for you all, I will somehow find the time. Please listen. I know there are some people here who have joined us who have been listening to my Dhamma for a long time. I'm not saying this to them. Those who are listening to the Dhammachakka Sutra that I am explaining for the first time, I am addressing them. Please listen to this very carefully, learn this, and then comprehend it. I will explain to you how to do it and practice it. Within a very short time, you will see that you will be able to attain the first level of enlightenment, Samma Ditti, and that is Sotapanna. Now, let me start with the Dhammachakka Sutra. First, I will explain the summary briefly, and then I will go into details. Now, in the Dhammachakka Sutra, Lord Buddha first says, Pubbe ananusutesu dhammesu, meaning, this Dhamma I am explaining to you, you haven't heard before. Now, this statement is very, very important. He is saying this to Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, and Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, the first five disciples, Kondanya Bhaddevappa Mahana Masaji, they were not high school children. They were ascetics, very senior ascetics, very senior monks, if you like, who have been meditating in the forest for over 25 years. They had mastered all the Hindu meditation techniques. They had mastered 64 religions that existed in India and Sri Lanka at the time. And they have mastered 40 different Hindu meditation techniques. Actually, at that time, there was no such thing as Hinduism. It was Brahminism. So they were Brahmin meditation techniques, 40 of them, which the yogis are practicing now. and they could travel in the air, they could do all sorts of things, but they were not Sotapanna. By practicing those meditation techniques, Brahmin meditation techniques, and learning Brahmin Dhamma, one could do various things, but one cannot become Sotapanna and attain the first level of enlightenment, because the Bodhisattva Prince Siddhartha, Bodhisattva Gautama, I should say, Gautama Bodhisattva, did all that during the 6 years that he practiced he went away from home and he was in the forest, giving unnecessary suffering to the body, and learned all these Dhamma. He first went to Alarakalama, then went to Uddakarama. He learned he mastered 64 religions and 40 different meditation techniques, and he practiced them one by one over a period of 6 years, which he called Arya Parveshana. Parveshana means research. For 6 years in the forest, he did the research program, practicing every one of those 64 religions and trying all those 40 meditation techniques that he learned from Brahmins. And thereafter, he realized none of them helped him to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha, maximize Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. By doing that, maximize his wisdom to the highest level and comprehend Dhamma. Dhamma is the universal laws. Universal laws means how this universe works. And Buddha Dhamma is universal laws explained by Samma Sambuddha. Right. So at the beginning, Lord Buddha says, I'm explaining a Dhamma you haven't heard before to Panchavagga Bhikkhu. So Panchavagga Bhikkhus were very senior ascetics or monks, if you like. You can call them monks. They were monks before Lord Buddha attained Buddhahood. There was Buddhism. There were various forms of Buddhism, because when Prince Siddhartha was conceived in his mother's womb, she was observing Abdastanga Sila. Then when Prince Siddhartha saw the 4 omens, the last one that he saw was the monk. Not that he had not seen any sick person, dead person, poor person, monk before. He had seen them, but that day it made him to think about it. It was like a shock to him once he started thinking. Something clicked and he started thinking about it. Then only he realized these things will happen to me as well. So he saw a monk as well. But the Buddhism was there, monks were there, but that was all distorted version of Buddha Dhamma. Because in Lord Gautama Buddha said during his samsara, the cycle of birth and rebirth, with his own eyes, he had seen 512,000 Buddhas, Samma Sambuddhas. So a Samma Sambuddha appears in several eons. Eon is a very, very long time. He will teach Dhamma, and that Dhamma will disappear after 5,000 years. But while he is living, other people will break away from him, taking bits and pieces of his Dhamma and constructing religions. And mainly for the purpose of their survival and making money. For example, while Gautama Buddha was living, Devadatta broke away with over 500 monks and started denomination. And that denomination is still there. Now, if you take the Buddhists today there are over 2 billion Buddhists living in the world, including the Buddhists in China. And they belong to more than 100 different denominations. So out of those 2 billion, less than 5% of the Buddhist people follow correct Buddha Dhamma, correct teachings of Lord Buddha. Others are following all various denominations, which are distorted version of Buddhism, with distorted version of Buddha Dhamma. Now, for example, in Sri Lanka, we have 3 main denominations. They call them Nikaya. Nikaya means denomination. We have Siam Nikaya, Amarapura Nikaya, and Ramanya Nikaya, 3 main divisions. And within those 3, there are about 25 different divisions. And none of them are correct Buddha Dhamma, because Lord Buddha didn't have denominations. So let me come back to the Dhammachakka Sutra. So Lord Buddha said, I am explaining a Dhamma you haven't heard before to Panchavagya Bhikkhu, who are highly educated and very knowledgeable monks who have been meditating and practicing 64 religions, 40 different meditations, trying to find the truth about this universe. So they were very knowledgeable. And for them, Lord Buddha is saying, I'm explaining a Dhamma you haven't heard before. So this point is very important. That's why I spent so much time explaining it. Then Lord Buddha says, once I comprehended this Dhamma, I got Chakkung Uddapadi, Jnanang Uddapadi, Panya Uddapadi, Vidya Uddapadi, Aloko Uddapadi. Chakkung Uddapadi means I got the vision of Dhamma. Chakku means eye, the eyes, but through which you see. So Chakkung Uddapadi means I got the vision of Dhamma. Jnanang Uddapadi means I got the knowledge of Dhamma. Panya Uddapadi means I got the wisdom of Dhamma. Vidya Uddapadi means I got the science of Dhamma. Science means how this universe works. The universal science, what the modern science is trying to discover through physics. Now there's a physics professor in America who is hosting a Buddhist website that is the only correct Buddhist website that is in English language. And he has one post where he's comparing modern physics to Lord Buddha's teachings. And he says modern physics have so far discovered less than 10% of what Lord Buddha discovered of this universe. So there you are, think about it. So Chakkung Uddapadi, Jnanang Uddapadi, Panya Uddapadi, Vidya Uddapadi. Finally, he says Aloko Uddapadi. Aloko means I became Aloka from Loka. By Loka, he meant the 31 planes where we live, the galaxy that we live in. This galaxy in the modern day is called Milky Way. Lord Buddha said that this Milky Way has 31 planes, 20 Brahma Loka, 6 Divya Loka, Manushya Loka where we live, then the animal Loka, Bhuta Loka, Preta Loka, and the hell itself, 31 planes. So he said we human beings circulate through these 31 planes, and if we don't become Sotapanna, more than 90% of our time in these 31 planes we spend in the 4 hells. So we all have been there. We don't want to go there again. The only way to get a guarantee is by becoming Sotapanna, Lord Buddha said. Lord Buddha explained that in detail in the Chitta Sutra. In my sermon, Sotapanna series, which contains 11 sermons, in the first sermon in the Chitta Sutra, I have explained that in detail. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't listen to those sermons because they don't know the value of it. People who know Dhamma, they listen to them, they learn them, they comprehend them, and they get results out of it. And there are many people, educated young people in USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Sri Lanka, India, and so on, who have been comprehending, listening to that Dhamma, comprehending it, and getting results out, practicing and getting results out of it. There are many people who are very close to become Sotapanna now. Hopefully within the next 1 year or so, a lot of them will become Sotapanna. I know, I'm sure, I have a feeling on that. So I'm asking everyone, kindly requesting everyone to listen to this Dhamma carefully. And by listening once, you are not going to learn everything. Then please go through my 11 sermons, listen to them one by one, 10 to 15 minutes a day. And after a while, once you go through them 2-3 times, you will remember. Then you have to do the Yoniso Manasikara and comprehend Dhamma. I will explain to you how to do it. Once you have comprehended this, you have to practice it. Right. So let's go back to that. Chakkung Uddapadi, Jnanang Uddapadi, Panya Uddapadi, Vidya Uddapadi, Aloko Uddapadi, Lord Buddha said. I got the vision of Dhamma, I got the knowledge of Dhamma, I got the wisdom of Dhamma, I got the science of Dhamma, I became Aloka from Loka. So he said, I managed to get away from these 31 planes and go to this, get the opportunity to go to the wonderful place called Nibbana. That is what he meant by Aloka. So Aloka. So Loka is the 31 planes, the darkness. Aloka or Aloka means the light, the wonderful place. Then he says, if you want to comprehend this Dhamma, there are 3 things firstly you have to do. You have to come out of Kamasukallikana Yoga. You have to come out of Attakilamatana Yoga. You have to come to Majima Patipada. Kamasukallikana Yoga means living a life of luxury, trying to satisfy the six senses as much as possible. That is what Prince Siddhartha did as a prince before he became an ascetic or a monk, if you like. So you have to come out of that, he said. Then he said you have to come out of Attakilamatana Yoga. Attakilamatana Yoga is living a life giving unnecessary suffering to the body, the other extreme. That's what Prince Siddhartha did. The Bodhisattva Siddhartha Gautama did for 6 years. And he realized by doing that, after 6 years, he realized that he cannot eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha, maximize Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, maximize the wisdom and comprehend the universal laws, comprehend the Dhamma. He couldn't do that by the second extreme also. So he says you have to give up that also. You can't go to one extreme, you can't go to the other extreme. Then he said you have to come to Majima Patipada. Now today Majima Patipada is being wrongly interpreted, translated as middle path. That is totally wrong. There's no middle path in Buddha Dhamma. Majima Patipada in Magadhi language means, Majji means getting drunk of Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Ma means completely eradicating that. Patipada is the path. So the Majjima Patipada is the path, the way, the system that explains you how to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. In other words, Majjima Patipada is the path, the practice that helps you to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Then he says, Majjima Patipada is the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Now, if you look at any Buddhist book, it says Samma Ditti means correct vision. Then Samma Sankappa is correct thinking. What is correct vision? If you ask 10 different people, what is the correct vision? You will get 10 different answers. That is totally wrong. It's not the correct vision, right? Samma Sankappa doesn't mean correct thinking. Samma Vacha doesn't mean correct speech. These wrong interpretations are the problem that people are struggling with. That's why people cannot become Sotapanna. One has to learn the correct meaning and practice it. Samma, let's see the meaning of Samma Ditti, the correct meaning. The word sang, the best place to really comprehend the meaning of the word sang. The word sang is very, very important because that is the word that has been used the highest number of times throughout Tripitaka. Like here we say Sammaditi. 8 times the word sang is there. Sammaditi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. In the Noble Eightfold Path alone, the word sang appears 8 times. Then Sankara, Lord Buddha said, Sabbe Sankara Anichati Yada Panyaya Passati, Atanibbindati Dukkhe Esamaggo Visuddhya. What it means is Sabbe Sankara, all Sankara Anichai Dukkhai Anattai Yada Panyaya Passati. If you understand that with your wisdom, Yada Panyaya Passati, Atanibbindati Dukkhe. If you stop doing Sankara, Esamaggo Visuddhya, that is the path to Nibbana. So the bottom line is, he said, if you can stop doing Sankara, that's all you have to do to go all the way to Nibbana. So here, the word again, the Sankara, it is absolutely necessary to learn the meaning of the word sang. Then the second noble truth, Samudaya, that is made up of 2 words called Sang Udaya. There again, the word sang appears. Like that, many places I can tell you where the word sang appears. So that is where that word sang explains a very, very important Dhamma point. If one doesn't understand and comprehend the correct meaning of the sun, the word sang, one cannot comprehend correct Buddha Dhamma and one cannot become Sotapanna. These are simple things one has to understand. It's just that some people, certain other religious sectors, for purposely to distort Dhamma, they have changed the meanings of these words. Now, to find the correct meaning of Sang, the best place is we refer to the last 3 words that Lord Buddha preached before he passed away to Parinibbana. His last 3 words, you can check any book, last 3 words, Appamadena Sang Pahadeta. Appamadena means without any delay. Pahadeta means remove. And what did he ask to remove? Sang. Without any delay, remove something as soon as possible. That's what he said. Appamadena means without any delay. Pahadeta means remove, eradicate completely. And in the middle, he says sang. Appamadena sang pahadeta. So what did he ask people to remove? Raga, dvesha, moha. So the word sang means raga, dvesha, moha. Anything to do with raga, dvesha, moha, it refers as sang. In most places, it's referred as sang. In some places, in different dialects, depending on which part of the country Lord Buddha preached, he used different words to describe raga, dvesha, moha. In some places, he says klesha. In some places, he used the word kali. Kali means black. Kali, kalo, that word in different parts of India and Sri Lanka, it means black, not good. Anything that is not good, not clean. They use that word in the Magadhi language, kali, kalo. So that depends on the dialect of the area where he was preaching. He used the correct word, otherwise people will not understand. For example, in London, people call bus, B-U-S, bus, but if you go to Scotland, they say bus. If you say bus, they don't understand. So similarly, there are different dialects in different parts of UK, even in India and Sri Lanka, there were different dialects. So the word sang means raga, dvesha, moha. So Samadhi means, sang means raga, dvesha, moha. Ma means completely eradicating. Ditti is the vision. So Samadhi means the vision that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha completely. Samma Sankappa means thinking that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha completely. Samma Vacha means the speech that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha completely. It's all about eradicating raga, dvesha, moha. That's all Buddha Dhamma is all about. Eradicating raga, dvesha, moha and maximizing maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka. Samma vancha, samma kammanta. Samma kammanta means the lifestyle that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha completely. Samma kammanta means action. Samma ajiva is the lifestyle that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. Samma vayama is the effort that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. Then samma samadhi. Samadhi is concentration. The concentration that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. Finally, samma samadhi, meditation. The meditation that helps you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. That is the samatha meditation and the vipassana meditation, but not the Brahmin samatha meditation and Brahmin vipassana meditation. If you practice that like I did for 57 years, you will not get anywhere like it happened to me. But if you have the correct practice, if you learn the correct practice and practice it, you can become Sotapanna within a very short time. So sang means raga, dvesha, moha. So Samadhi. So Lord Buddha said the Noble Eightfold Path. In other words, Majima patipada is the Noble Eightfold Path, and that is the Samadhi, Samma Sankappa, and so on, the eightfold I just mentioned. So Samadhi is the first one. A person who comes to Samadhi becomes Sotapanna. Samadhi is the first fold of the Noble Eightfold Path. So that person, a person who has come to Samadhi, has comprehended Dhamma. Then Lord Buddha says, in order to come to Samadhi, you have to comprehend the Four Noble Truths. Four noble truths are noble truth of suffering, noble truth of the cause of suffering, noble truth of the out of suffering, and noble truth of the way out of suffering. The four noble truths. Then he says, in order to comprehend the four noble truths, there are four things you have to practice. The four things are, first one, Kalyana Mitra Sevana. Now, the word Kal appears here. That means Klesha, Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Kalyana means, Yana means completely eradicating. Kalyana Mitra Sevana. So what it means is you associate, Mitra is a friend. So you associate the person who can help you, who can teach you Dhamma, the correct Buddha Dhamma, which will help you to cut off Raga, Dvesha, Moha completely, eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So that's what Kalyana Mitra Sevana means. You, in other words, put it in very simple terms, you associate a person who can explain you correct Buddha Dhamma. Then the second one you have to do is Siri Saddharma Shravana. Shravana means listening. Siri means Buddha, Dhamma means the teachings of Lord Buddha. So Siri Saddharma Shravana, you listen to Lord Buddha's correct Dhamma taught by that Kalyana Mitra, the person who is capable of explaining correct Dhamma. That person has to be a Sotapanna person, because unless the person is Sotapanna, he cannot explain another person to become Sotapanna. Unless a person has passed A-level mathematics, he cannot explain another person, he cannot teach another person to pass A-level mathematics, because he doesn't know, he doesn't have the right confidence. Even if he has studied it 100 times, he doesn't have the right confidence, he doesn't know how to answer the exam questions. Similarly, unless, even if a person studies the entire Tripitaka, unless otherwise he is Sotapanna, he cannot help, he cannot teach Dhamma for another person, which will help that person to become Sotapanna. So you have to associate a person who is Sotapanna, and you have to listen to the correct Dhamma explained by him. So there are the two things, Kalyana Mitra Sevana and Siri Saddharma Shravana. Third one is Yoniso Manasikara. Now, what you learned by listening to the Kalyana Mitra, then you go through it by yourself, using your intelligence and wisdom. You analyze it. You see whether it adds up. These are puzzles, different parts of the same puzzle. You see whether they fix in, whether they fit in, whether they add up. And when you go through it several times, you will see how it fits in, how it will add up. So your mind will accept it. You have to convince your mind that this is correct Dhamma. So you do that by going through it over and over and over again, analyzing the Dhamma that you learned, and you comprehend. That means you are convincing your mind that this is the correct Dhamma. So that you have to do by yourself. There are two things. The first two things, Kalyana Mitra Sevana and Siri Saddharma Shravana. Others can help you, but the other two things you have to do by yourself. So the Yoniso Manasikara, going through the Dhamma that you learned over and over again and comprehending it, that is Yoniso Manasikara, that you have to do by yourself. Then the fourth one is Dhammanu Dhamma Patipada. Dhammanu Dhamma Patipada, Lord Buddha explained in one gatha as Sabba Papasa Akaranang Kusalasa Upasampada Sachitta Pariyodapanang Etang Buddha Anusasanam. Sabba Papasa Akaranang means eradicate all unwholesome. When you say unwholesome, there are unwholesome thoughts, which leads to unwholesome action, which leads to unwholesome qualities. So you have to eradicate all three. You can't do it overnight. You have to do it little by little. Sabba Papasa Akaranang. Kusalasa Upasampada. Practice, cultivate and accumulate wholesome. So you start with wholesome thoughts, which leads to wholesome deeds, and which leads to accumulation of wholesome qualities. What is unwholesome? Unwholesome is Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Wholesome is Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. Sachitta Pariyodapana. Chitta means mind. Pariyo means purify. Sachitta Pariyodapana. Sachitta means your chitta. my mind. If I say Sachitta, that means my mind. Purify your mind through the above process. And then your wisdom will improve, and you will be able to comprehend Dhamma. You will be, once you eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha, and once you start eradicating to a certain limit, you will also develop your Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, then your wisdom will go up, and you will be able to comprehend Dhamma little by little. And the fourth sentence is Etang Buddha Anusasana. This is the advice given by every Samma Sambuddha. Etang Buddha Anusasana. Anusasana means advice. So in one Gatha, Lord Buddha explained that, put it in very simple terms, eradicate all unwholesome, cultivate and accumulate all wholesome. And to do that, Lord Buddha gave the Samatha Bhavana, Samatha meditation. Lord Buddha called it Anapana Sati Samadhi meditation. And that Lord Buddha has explained in the Sutra number 19 of the Majima Nikaya of the Tripitaka. Tripitaka is divided into 5 Nikayas, and Nikaya means groups. And then within those Nikayas, there are so many sutras, sermons. So if you take the Majima Nikaya, Sutra number 19 in the first part of Majima Nikaya, it's a sutra called Dveda Vitakka Sutra. We have that in the English Tripitaka that we have here in our Vihara. And Bhikkhu Bodhi has done a wonderful translation there. It's only 3.5 pages, that sutra. In that sutra, Lord Buddha explained how he, after practicing those 40 different Brahmin meditation techniques and the 64 different Brahmin religions that existed in India and Sri Lanka those days, he finally decided to give them up. He sat under the Sri Mahabodhi tree and started thinking, and he discovered his own meditation technique, which he called Anapana Sati Samadhi meditation technique. Anapana does not mean breathe in, breathe out. He clearly explains in Dveda Vitakka Sutra what Anapana meditation means. I will take a photograph of the sutra after this discussion and post it in our group. It's only 3.5 pages. Please read it. You will see, you will realize that nowhere in that sutra it says anything about breathing in, breathing out. All that sutra says is Gautama Bodhisattva sat under the Bodhi tree and started thinking, and he decided to put unwholesome thoughts, Raga, Dvesha, Moha thoughts coming into his mind on one side, and the wholesome thoughts, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thoughts coming into his mind onto another side. Then he understood what the unwholesome thoughts, Raga, Dvesha, Moha thoughts, what the wholesome thoughts, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thoughts. Then he watched his mind. Every time when a Raga, Dvesha, Moha thought comes to his mind, he eradicated that. And every time a Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thought came into his mind, he took that into his mind and cultivated and developed that thought. So Anapana means take in wholesome, put out unwholesome. It doesn't mean breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out is Hindu meditation. Hindus started calling it Anapana as well later, but somehow one Brahmin priest brought that into, I better mention the name, Buddha Gosha in his Visuddhimagga brought that into Buddha Dhamma and totally distorted Buddhist meditation. So more than 95% of the Buddhist people in the world, including myself until I was 57, I also did that. I learned that breathing meditation from my father when I was only 4 years old. And I practiced this almost every day, at least 10 minutes a day, until I was 57 and I got nowhere. And finally, thanks to those good monks, Sotapanna monk, who taught me, who put me on the right direction. He explained to me how wrong that breathing meditation is, and he explained me the correct meditation, showed me in the Tripitaka. I practiced that, and I managed to attain my ambition, my objective. So I'm going to send you a photocopy of that sutra, and hopefully you'll be able to have a look at it. and learn it. And please listen to my 11 Dhamma sermons. I'm going to, after this discussion today, in our West London Buddha Vihara group, as well as in all the other groups, I'm going to post a copy of the Dhamma Sutra, where Lord Buddha has explained how he discovered Buddhist Anapana meditation technique. That is the Buddhist Samadhi meditation technique. How he practiced it, through the practice of it, how he managed to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha gradually, and develop Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha gradually. And finally, he managed to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha completely and maximize Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha to the highest level. And through that, maximize his wisdom and comprehend the universe, comprehend how this universe works, all the universal laws. And he called them Suva, Asuva, Dahasak, Dhammaskanda. Dhammaskanda means, Dhamma means universal laws. Skanda means mountain. Suva, Asuva, Dahasak means uncountable number in Magadhi language. And Suva means the good things that you should do. Asuva means bad things you shouldn't do. So Lord Buddha's Dhamma is Suva, Asuva, Dahasak, Dhammaskanda. Unlimited number of natural laws, he explained, out of which the things what we should do, the good things that we should do, and the bad things we shouldn't do. That's what Buddha Dhamma is all about. So that is a summary of the Dhammachakka Sutra. So we are coming very close to the time, but I will explain one point here. Now, the Four Noble Truths, out of the Four Noble Truths, I'll take another 10 minutes and explain the first Noble Truth very briefly, so you can see what you have learned before and the correct meanings of it. What a big difference. Now, in the first Noble Truth, Lord Buddha says, in the Dhammachakka Partner Sutra, he says, Idanko pana bhikkhave dukkhaṃ arya saccam, jātipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyādipi dukkha, maranaṃpi dukkha, soka parideva dukkha domanassa, upayasapi dukkha, piyehi vippayogo dukkho, appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, yampi icchaṃ nalabati tampi dukkhaṃ, sankittena pancha upadana skandha dukkha. Now let me explain that to you very quickly and think about it. Compare what I am saying to what you have heard before, if you have heard or if you have read the explanations given on the Dhammachakka Partner Sutra. So he says, now, Idanko pana bhikkhave dukkhaṃ arya saccam. Bhikkhuni, listen to the dukkha, what I called the noble truth of suffering. He said, Bhikkhu, listen to the noble truth of suffering, he said. Then he's explaining 11 types of suffering that people did not know before. Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu did not know before. Because remember, at the beginning, he said, I'm explaining you Dhamma you haven't heard before. So whatever he explained in the Dhammachakka Partner Sutra, every single point of Dhamma, Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu had never heard of them before. That is the importance of that statement, Pubbe Ananusutesu Dhammesu. I'm explaining you Dhamma you haven't heard before. So these 11 types, let me go through it again. The 11 na, Jatipi dukkha, Jarapi dukkha, Vyadipi dukkha, Maranampi dukkha. That's 4. Soka parideva dukkha domanassa upayasapi dukkha. That's 9. Pi yehi vippayogo dukkho, appi yehi sampayogo dukkho. That's 11. Then he says, Yampi icchaṃ nalabati tampi dukkhaṃ. That is the quality that all those 11 has. Then he says, Sankittena pancha upadana skandha dukkha. That means he is explaining briefly how this suffering is created. So let me go to the beginning, the first 4. Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadipi dukkha, maranampi dukkha. So 99% of the books that you will see, whatever the language that is in Buddhist books, they will say Jatipi dukkha means birth is suffering. Jarapi dukkha means getting old is suffering. Getting sick is suffering. Vyadipi dukkha, getting old is suffering. Maranampi dukkha is death is suffering. Now remember, Lord Buddha said to Panchavagya Bhikkhu, I am explaining you Dhamma you haven't heard before. Can you believe that after saying that, Lord Buddha will say birth is suffering, getting old is suffering, getting sick is suffering, dying is suffering. Even a 10-year-old child knows that birth is suffering, getting sick is suffering, getting old is suffering, dying is suffering. Even a 10-year-old child knows that. It's such a simple thing, everyone knows that. So that is not the right meaning, is it? The right meaning is more comprehensive, more profound. Let's look at the right meaning. Now, I'm just trying to make a point to you here. What the books are saying is wrong. Just think about it, right? Don't just believe because I say. Remember, Lord Buddha said in Kalama Sutra, don't believe just because I say it, or just because my disciples say it, or just because your teacher say it, or just because your parents say it, or just because it has been in the tradition. He's giving so many reasons like that. And he says, don't believe because of all that. Whatever I say, you listen to it, you remember, you take it home, you go through it using your intelligence and wisdom. And at the end of the day, if you think it's right, you take it, use it, and practice it, you will get results out of it. And at the end of the day, if you think it's wrong, you just leave it out and carry on with whatever you are doing. So that's what he said. So I'm making the same request from you. Don't believe just because I say it. Listen to it carefully, remember, and go through it using your intelligence and wisdom. And at the end of the day, if you think it's right, you can take it, practice it, and get results out of it, right? Now, let me explain you the correct meanings of Jati Pidukkha, Jara Pidukkha, Vyadhi Pidukkha, Maranam Pidukkha. Now, there's a sutra called Jati Dhamma Sutra, right? In that sutra, Lord Buddha says, everything in the world can be divided into different jati. Jati means different types. So different types of people, different types of men, different types of women, different types of children, different types of babies, different types of animals, different types of trees, different types of rivers, different types of drinks, different types of food, different types of soil, different types of rain, different types of snows. So everything is jati. Everything in the world can be referred to as jati, whether they are living objects or non-living objects. Everything that the nature has created, the universal power has created, whether they are alive or not, whether they are people or animal or natural objects, trees, whatever, everything can be divided into different jati. Jati means, so the word jati means everything, everything that has been created by the universal power, the nature. So jati pi dukkha. The word pi means priya. Now we in Hindi language you say priya. Priya means love, right? Love, or I think in Hindi language, priya means darling, isn't it? So something that you like very much, you call priya. So the word pi means priya. So anything that you like so much, jati pi dukkha, he says that will, if you like so much to something, and if you are attached to it, if you have development attachment to it, for example, if you like to drive a particular car and you are so attached to it, if you like to live in a particular house and you are so attached to it, if you like to live with certain people and you are so attached to them, Lord Buddha didn't mean throw away your car, throw away your house, and throw away your people. He didn't say that. He is talking about the attachment, deep attachment that you have with raga, dvesha, moha. Now again, attachment can be with raga, dvesha, moha, which is not good. Attachment with maitri, karuna, that is good, right? Now these things take time to explain, so I'm not going to go into detail here, but I have explained them in great detail in my sermon, so please listen to them. Now to explain you the attachment with raga, dvesha, moha and attachment with maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka, it will take me at least half an hour. We haven't got all that much time. So let me explain this one point before I finish. So jati pi dukkha. So if you are attached to something, and if you cannot have it the way you want, that causes suffering. That's what it means. So basically it's the attachment, jatipi dukkha. Then jarapi dukkha. So if you are attached to some natural object or a person, jara means that person is getting old. For example, if your car is getting too old, if your house is getting too old, and if you are attached to someone and that person is getting too old, and if you don't understand Dhamma, that causes you suffering. You will worry about it, right? That's what it means. Jarapi dukkha. Vyadipi dukkha. Vyadi means that getting sick. If you are attached to something or someone, for example, your car, if your car is getting sick all the time, breaking down, or if your house is getting sick all the time, you're having plumbing problems, your roof is breaking down, roof is leaking, and the walls are falling apart, and you get damp coming from, that is, the house is getting sick. Or if you're attached to a person, that person is getting sick all the time. And if you don't know Dhamma, and if you are attached to these things, with raga, dvesha, moha, then it causes you suffering. That's what vyadipi dukkha means. Maranampi dukkha. Maranampi dukkha means, maranam means getting destroyed, coming to an end or dying. So if you are attached to your house or car or any other object, and if that gets destroyed or you lose it, you cannot use it anymore the way you want. And if you don't know Dhamma, and if you are attached to it with raga, dvesha, moha, and that causes you suffering. Similarly, if you attach to a person with raga, dvesha, moha, and that person dies, that causes you suffering. So it's the correct meanings are very, very different. I just wanted to make that point to you. I take 11 sermons to explain all these. So that takes about 11 hours. Obviously, we don't have 11 hours here. I just made the point to you. Importance about the Dhammachakka Partner Sutra, importance about learning the correct meanings. There's no rocket science here. Even a 12-year-old child with some level of wisdom and intelligence, by learning this correctly, by listening to it correctly, excuse me, can learn this. Lord Buddha's Dhamma is very simple and straightforward. That's why 7-year-old children like Sopaka, Sunita, Rahula, Visaka manage to comprehend this Dhamma within 2 hours and become Sotapanna. I'm not saying everyone can become Sotapanna within 2 hours, but if you make the effort, firstly, you have to listen to correct Dhamma, learn it, remember it, and then you go through it over and over again and comprehend it yourself, and then you put it into practice. If you do that, there's no rocket science. Anyone can do it. It's so simple and straightforward. Anyone can come to Samadhi, become Sotapanna, the first level of enlightenment, and get a 100% guarantee that you will never ever go to the four hells for the rest of your samsara. In Chutta Sutra, Lord Buddha picked up a little bit of earth from the ground, showed it to the disciples and said, look at the amount of soil in my hand. Compare it to the amount of soil on the ground. He said, after death, only a proportion of people living in the world equivalent to the amount of soil in my hand will become Sotapanna and go to a better place. And all the others equivalent to the amount of soil on the entire earth will not become Sotapanna because they will not make the effort, and they will go to one of the four hells. So it's a guarantee given by Lord Buddha. He said in that Chutta Sutra, in Ratana Sutra, he said, Sahavasya Dassana Sampadaya Tayassu Dhamma Jahida Bhavanti Sakkaya Ditti Vichikichikancha Silabbatang Vapi Yachachikinchi Chatu Apaye Hicha Vipamutto. Chatu Apa means, Chatu means four, Apa means Satarapa. I don't have the time to explain the entire Gatha, but what it means is, I have explained that in detail in my sermons. Please listen to them. I'll be forwarding them to you today, tonight itself. Please go through them one by one, 10-15 minutes a day, as and when you have time. When you are driving the car or when you are having your meals, you can listen to it. And In that Gatha, what it means is, if you learn correct Dhamma, comprehend it and get a vision of it and practice it, you will become Sotapanna. And you will come to Samadhi and become Sotapanna. And Chatuapaya Hichavipamutto. Chatuapa means 4 hells. It says there's a guarantee that you will never ever go to the 4 hells for the rest of your samsara. So in many, many sutras, in Sotapanna Sutra, Chutta Sutra, and so many other sutras, Lord Buddha explained that it is, as a human being, if you, very rarely we will get the chance to become a human being. Because Lord Buddha said, Manusat Patilabo Paramadullabo. Becoming a human being is the most difficult one. So if one gets the opportunity, Lord Buddha said, don't waste it. The top priority in life should be to become Sotapanna. It doesn't mean you have to throw everything away, go to the forest and meditate. Certainly not. Now, during Lord Buddha's time, the Tripitaka says that Lord Buddha spent most of his 24 years of his time as a Buddha at Sravasti, Jetavanarama. During that time, the Sravasti city had, it says, 60 million population. The area, I think, is the state. And out of the 60 million, over 90% were Buddhist. And out of those 90%, over 75% were Sotapanna. Out of the 75%, less than 5% were Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, monks and nuns. And over 70% of the people who became Sotapanna were lay people who were staying at homes, looking after families, doing normal jobs, businesses, and so on, earning a decent living, and managed to become Sotapanna. So it was possible those days. It is possible now. Believe me, if anyone says it's not possible to become Sotapanna, that is because that person doesn't know how to do it. And he is committing a massive sin. According to Sanghabheda Sutra, he is committing one of the 5 big sins by distorting Dhamma. And that is the Sanghabheda. Sanghabheda does not mean putting one Sangha against another. Sangha means Sangha. Sangha means Sotapanna or higher. Sanghabheda, Bheda means blocking. So if a person, a preacher, is blocking someone's path to become Sangha or Sotapanna, that person is committing the one of the 5 Anantariya Papa Karmas, one of the big ones, and he will go to the hell like Devadatta for a very, very, very long time. If people have listened to this Sanghabheda Sutra, I will explain it one day, they'll be terrified, because these people who don't know correct Dhamma going around and teaching nonsense, teaching Brahminism, and they are committing the Sanghabheda, and they don't know the gravity of it, they will carry on for some time. The nature will go, give them time to carry on and accumulate more and more sins. Well, one fine day, it comes down to them like a ton of bricks. Something happens to them and they won't be able to get up from the bed. And they will suffer for a very, very long time in the human world, and then go to hell, and they will suffer in the hell for a very long time, because they are committing a massive sin, teaching wrong Dhamma and blocking other people's way to become Sangha. There are many, many people in the world, very good Buddhists, give a lot of dana and interested in learning correct Dhamma and becoming Sotapanna, coming to Samadhi and Sotapanna. But unfortunately, they have met the wrong teachers, and those wrong teachers are teaching them wrong things, Brahminism and Hinduism and all kinds of things, and misleading those people and sending them on a wild goose chase and telling them that it's not possible to become Sotapanna in this life. And those people, those teachers are committing a massive sin. That is the Sanghabheda. The 5 big ones are shedding the blood of Lord Buddha, the first one. The second one is killing Sangha. That's that Sangha means a person who is Sotapanna or higher. Then killing mother, killing father, the first 4. And the 5th one is Sanghabheda, distorting Dhamma and blocking the path of another person becoming Sangha, becoming Sotapanna. So that's what those wrong teachers who teach wrong Dhamma, there are monks, there are nuns, there are lay people who are doing that. all of them are committing Sangha Beda, the fifth Anantariya Papa Karma, and unfortunately, they will have to face the consequences of that. I think I have overshot the time by about 10 minutes, about 7 minutes. I will stop there now, and I will request Dr. Ratnayaka to do the Vasaradhana. Beatles upstairs, isn't it? Let me go and get the Beatles. Excuse me, I'll just go and get the Beatles. Right, Dr. Ratnayak is going to do the invitation in traditional language, you can say.
අන්‍යයන්ට ධර්ම දේශනා කරමින්ද මේ ස්ථානයේ වැඩවසන ලෙස ආරාධනා කරනවා. ඒ අතරතුර කාර්ය තුටි අවශ්‍ය කරන සියලුම අපෝපස්ථාන අපි සම්පූර්ණ කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
ඔබතුමාට බොහොම පිං ඔබතුමාගේ ආරාධනාව පිළිගන්නවා. තෙරුවන් සරණයි සුවපත් වේ. Right, we have completed the invitation. Now I'm going to transfer merits and offer blessings and conclude today's work. Right, now today by discussing Dhamma and explaining Dhamma, we have completed 10 meritorious deeds. I don't have the time to explain them now, but I will explain them some other day. So by completing these 10 meritorious deeds, we have accumulated a lot of merits. And in Tidobuddha Sutra, Lord Buddha explained that every time when we engage ourselves in any meritorious deeds and accumulate merits, we should transfer them to others, because it does several things, several good things to us. Firstly, when we transfer merits, we are doing a dana. We are giving merits to others. So it's a universal law that more you give, more you get. So when you share your merits with others, they will receive those merits and your merits will double and triple. So always remember, when you do engage yourselves in any meritorious deed, if you give dana or if you practice Buddha Dhamma or if you meditate, once you finish, always remember to transfer merits. So firstly, your merits will double and triple. Secondly, those who are receiving the merits they will receive some benefit and they will bless you and their blessings will help you as well. So it's very, very important to transfer merits, and that's what we are going to do now. So first we are going to transfer merits to our dead relatives. First think of all your dead relatives. When you say dead relatives, relatives who have passed away, not only the relatives that you can remember in this life, but Lord Buddha said, according to Lord Buddha's teachings, we have been born trillions and trillions and uncountable number of times in this samsara until we came to this life. So in every one of those lives, we had parents who loved us, cared for us, and brought us up, just like the parents in this life. So think of our relations, our parents, our brothers, family members, our relations, our teachers, our friends, even our enemies in this life, as well as all those right throughout samsara, trillions and trillions of them. Think of all of them. And also, when we transfer merits, I always think of Bodhisattva Bharat Ratna, Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I'm sure he has been a father to us most of us throughout our samsara somewhere. That's why we have so much regard, love, and respect for him. We are all here today because of him. And this vihara is here because of him. So I always transfer merits to him. Let's think of that great person, Bodhisattva, as well as his relatives who have passed away. And also any person who has helped this vihara in any way whatsoever and passed away, will think of them as well. May all of them receive these merits. With the power of these merits, may they all be happy, be healthy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all their good wishes come true. May they all comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu nātayo. Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu nātayo. Idam me ñātīnaṁ hotu sukita hontu nātayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, we are going to transfer merits to all the living beings living on the 31 planes, including the superior beings living in the 20 Brahma Loka and the 6 Divya Loka, human beings living in the Manusya Loka, and the inferior beings living in the animal Loka, Bhuta Loka, Preta Loka, and the hell itself. May they all receive these merits. With the power of these merits, may they all be happy, be healthy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all their good wishes come true. May they all comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, just say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, with the power of all these merits, may all of you and all your family members be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all your good wishes come true. May all of you comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana patya. Idam me punya kamman asavakkaya hotu sabba dukkha pamocatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Finally, in order to ask forgiveness from the noble triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achyayam kamame bhakte bhuripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achyayam kamame dhamma samditthika kalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang achyayam kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to give you the blessings of the Mahasangha. Abhivadana Silisa Nichang Vadda Pachayino Chattaru Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvarno Sukhambalam. Ayurarogya Sampatti, Sagga Sampatti Mevacha, Ato Nibbana Sampatti, Iminate Samijatu, Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang, Rakantu Sabba Devata, Sabba Buddhanubhavena, Sabba Dhammanubhavena, Sabba Sanghanubhavena, Sada Sutti Bhavantu Te. May all of you be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May all your good wishes come true. May all of you comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. May the Noble Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha bless you all. Namo Buddhaya, Jai. Thank you very, very much.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much.